Some more information will be released in the now closed Barry Morphew case, and I call BS on the DA's statement about finding Suzanne Morphew. Daniel Penny appears for an arraignment again. The New Jersey attorney has 4 more problems. A lawful defending of your property? And you can't make this stuff up. File, and then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't. Like if you do. Leave me a comment below. Hit that little bell for notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And remember, you can listen to us on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Let's get rolling on the docket today. And let's open the record for June 28th, 2023. First, the Barry Morphew case. Guess what? They're back in court on a case that has been closed. Now, it could be months or even years before prosecutors believe that they have enough evidence to prove that Suzanne Morphew was murdered and bring the case to trial. The DA said that could be a long time. It could be quick. It could be long. It depends on a lot of our investigation, said the Deputy District Attorney, Mark Hurlburt. Now, Hurlburt is Linda Stanley's number 2. Linda Stanley didn't appear probably because she's being sued by Barry Morphew for alleged misconduct. Now, you say, Hurlburt, why do I know that name? Well, he's kind of been bouncing around the Western Slope for many years. In fact, he was the prosecutor on, that's right, he was the district attorney who prosecuted Kobe Bryant when he was charged with sexual assault in Eagle County years ago. He just kind of keeps hanging on. So in somewhat of a bold statement made in open court regarding the case that they had to dismiss, Hurlburt insisted that investigators suspect that they know where the body is. Hurlburt said that Suzanne Morphew's body is in a tough spot. We actually have more than just a feeling, and the sheriff's office continues to look for Mrs. Morphew's body, he stated. Now, I call BS on this. Really? You think you know where an alleged homicide has taken place and you know where the body is, but you can't get there? I told you, when I'm flying across the western side of the slope, every time I fly over there, I think, it looks like all the snow's melted. But yet they can't find Suzanne Morphew where they think the body is located? Listen, if they have search and rescue people that can find pieces of metal of a sub that was turned into a tin can 2 miles below the ocean floor, I really think that if they really believed they knew where Suzanne Morphew's body was, they would go get it. Well, there was a hearing called after Barry Morphew's attorneys requested to keep records in this case sealed indefinitely. Now, prosecutors back in March of 2022, before the case was ultimately dismissed, filed a motion to admit statements that Suzanne Morphew allegedly made to her best friend about the couple's failing marriage. Now, defense attorney Iris Itan accused prosecutors of operating on a hunch in going after Barry Morphew for the first-degree murder allegations. The Park County District Judge handling the case now, Amanda Hunter, ordered the records to be unsealed. Once unsealed, they could shed some light on Suzanne Morphew's mindset as she poured her heart out to her best friend, Sheila Oliver. Now, 3 months before Suzanne Morphew vanished from their couple's home near Salida, Colorado, Suzanne Morphew was planning to leave her husband, Barry Morphew, and they'd been married for some 25 years. The conversations, which revealed her spiraling marriage to her best friend, would have to be crucial to the prosecution's case had it ever gone to trial. Now, Morphew's thoughts were recorded on text on a spy pen and relayed to investigators through the memory of Oliver. The two met apparently while they were students at Purdue. The public heard some of those conversations during Barry Morphew's August 2021 4-day hearing through testimony of FBI Special Agent Ken Harris. Now, the details Suzanne Morphew's alleged comments to Oliver provided below came from Harris's testimony in open court. Heartfelt communications from Morphew strengthened the prosecution's theory in revealing evidentiary hearing that Morphew had reason to kill his wife on Mother's Day back in 2020. In the motion filed a month before Morphew's first-degree murder trial was scheduled to begin, the government wanted to get those statements admitted. But because Suzanne Morphew's body was missing, the case was dismissed without prejudice, which means they could refile the case, and since there's no statute of limitations if new evidence were to present itself. Now, prosecutors felt that they would have a better chance of convicting the father of two if they waited for stronger evidence. So to dismiss a case without prejudice means that the case can simply be retried. Morphew's attorney wanted the court to keep the case pretrial records under wraps to protect Mr. Morphew's constitutional rights. And when the case was dismissed, Morphew became a free man, and his attorney said, however, he has been struggling to get his life back to normal. ITAN stated that there is a cloud of suspicion, unfortunately, that hangs over Mr. Morphew's head as a result of the prosecution's continued statements that they have a hunch that he had something to do with Mrs. Morphew's disappearance. She called the prosecution's words in pretrial motions untrue, inflammatory, and prejudicial. Now, Mr. Hurlburt said that everything filed has been the truth, well, except for one erroneous instance in one of their motions. Mr. Hurlburt said we're going to continue to look for her body, and we are simply trying to get this case prosecuted. At the time of her disappearance, Suzanne Morphew was having this long-distance affair with a high school flame and wanted to leave Barry to be close to the new flame. Now, according to the hearing, Morphew and Jeff Leibler, a Michigan father of 6, saw each other several times and fell in love. The affair was discovered when law enforcement found a spy pen in Suzanne Morphew's closet, which she purchased to place in Barry's vehicle because actually she suspected him of having an affair. In text messages and conversations relayed to investigators by Oliver, Suzanne Morphew wanted to leave her husband, who felt she was turning their 2 daughters, Macy and Mallory, against her. He pulled Macy in again and left. My heart hurts for her, Morphew texted. Whether that is against the defendant or against somebody else, we don't really know. Anyway, Macy Morphew was still in high school living at home, and her older sister Mallory was in college. Other statements revealed in the motion show Morphew felt her husband was too controlling and unstable. She described him to Oliver as narcissistic. Suzanne Morphew's phone was never found, but prosecutors were able to pull up her text messages by searching Oliver's phone. Now, Barry Morphew has maintained his innocence in Suzanne Morphew's death since the day she was reported missing on May 10th of 2020. And after nearly a year of investigation, the Chaffee County Sheriff's arrested Morphew in connection with his wife's murder. He was released on bail the following September after the preliminary hearing, when the judge, Patrick Murphy, ordered him bound over for trial to the district court. Now, it was noted that it shows how hard it is to control the curious public in a high-profile case, because the hearing was being broadcast via WebEx. And one of the people that was observing the hearing logged in as Barry killed Suzanne. Needless to say, Mr. Morphew's attorney was not amused by that, and the judge stopped the proceeding and removed that unknown listener for obviously failing to follow court protocol and etiquette. Can't do that. Obviously, we'll give Barry Morphew the presumption of innocence. As I've stated before, I know both of his attorneys. They're very good attorneys, and if you go back and look at any of the videos that we talked about during that time period, I had a feeling they were going to prevail. That's just the way it is. They're very, very good attorneys. Next on the docket, Daniel Penny is back in court. Prosecutors revealed Wednesday that they have additional cell phone video from witnesses in Jordan Neely's subway chokehold death, as the ex-Marine Daniel Penny pled not guilty to manslaughter charges in the high-profile case. The 24-year-old former infantry squad leader, who appeared in the Manhattan Supreme Court, clean-shaven and wearing a blue suit and a maroon tie, was arraigned on charges of second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide during the brief court appearance. Now, Penny spoke only to say not guilty. There were at least 50 supporters and others in the courtroom for him to provide support. Now, the Long Island native was captured on video putting Neely, who was witnesses said had been threatening subway riders, into a chokehold on the F train on May 1st. The medical examiner later ruled Neely's death a homicide. Documents filed with the court show prosecutors have at least 5 cell phone videos from 3 witnesses to the encounter, and they plan to introduce those into evidence. They also have videotape statements from 2 other witnesses, as well as 2 MTA surveillance videos and police body-worn camera footage. The prosecutors disclosed that they have a videotape statement that Penny made to the police the day of the incident when they released him without charging him. Penny's statement to the police inside the subway station detailed in the filing echo that he was what he said publicly about the incident. Quote, "He came on, threw all his stuff down, and was very aggressive, going crazy. I was behind him, put him in a choke," Penny said to the police at the time, according to the court documents. Now, Penny described what could be seen in the video of the confrontation that Neely was rolling. He was rolling when he was in a choke. He was going crazy, the filing state. Now, Penny also told police that Neely was acting irate, dropping things on the floor, saying that he doesn't care if he goes to jail, according to the prosecutor's filings. He was pacing back and forth on the car. Penny allegedly said, "I came from behind him and put him in a chokehold. People in the subway were afraid for their safety." Now, a freelance journalist who happened to be on the subway recorded the tail end of the encounter, and it sparked some outrage upon release. Now, Penny surrendered to authorities back on May 12th after the Manhattan District Attorney brought charges against him. He was indicted by a grand jury earlier this month and continues to remain free on a $100,000 bond. If convicted, he faces up to 19 years behind bars, and Penny has said that he didn't mean to kill Mr. Neely, but that he felt he had to step in for the safety of other passengers, as Neely, who was a long history of mental illness, had been throwing trash at riders and threatening them as they moved away. Now, Penny's attorney said outside the court that the evidence in their case shows that our client acted reasonably under the circumstances and that he was justified in the actions that he took, however unfortunate the consequences. Penny's other lawyer said he believes that their client will get a fair trial in Manhattan, since New Yorkers are all too familiar with the dangers of riding on a city subway. They understand what it's like to be on a subway, what it's like to be confined underground, what it's like to be able to leave when faced with a threat. So it's a very positive thing that we are able to go to the people here in Manhattan and ask them to render a verdict in this case, because they understand what it's like to be in a situation that Daniel was in at least to the physical confinement. His attorneys also know this is a very trying time for Mr. Penny, and he is continuing with his schooling. He's doing what he needs to be doing, staying close to his family. Mr. Neely's family has called for heavier charges of murder to be brought against Mr. Penny and have claimed that the city's mental health care system failed Mr. Neely, who has a long history of brushes with the law. I mentioned this before. Hey, we're going to have to see how this one turns out. It's probably criminally negligent manslaughter. Maybe a jury will see it a different way. But for Mr. Neely's family to blame the city, okay, we mentioned this before. I know I'm going to get comments for it, but where were you when this guy was out hanging out on the subway threatening people? Where's the family? Although when, the checks get to start being written, all those family members are going to start showing up saying, our baby, we loved him so much. He was such a good guy. But they didn't care for him enough to keep him out of trouble or keep him off the streets. Just something to think about. More attorney troubles. That's right. That New Jersey attorney charged with sexually assaulting 4 women has now been charged with attacking 4 more. Matthew Nilo was indicted by a grand jury on Tuesday for attacking 4 women in Boston's historic North End neighborhood between 2007 and 2008. He was previously charged with 7 counts, including aggravated rape, kidnapping, indecent assault with intent to rape and assault in a string of attacks that took place at around the same time in the Charleston neighborhood. Now, Nilo pled not guilty to those charges, and he has been released from the Boston County Jail after his fiancee posted a $500,000 bond of his $5 million bail, and he was fitted with a GPS angle monitor. Mr. Nilo's attorney said that he now plans to fight the new charges as well, which include the count of rape, 1 count of aggravated rape, 3 counts of assault with attempt to rape, and 2 counts of indecent assault and battery. And Mr. Nilo denies all of the allegations, including the latest charges. You can expect both a legal and factual challenge to the government's case. All the stuff that defense attorneys say outside the courtroom. Deep down inside, they're saying, wow, they got this guy's DNA? It's a problem. Prosecutors allege that Nilo, a Boston native, attacked 4 women in the North End in 2007 and 2008, including 2 attacks on the same women just 11 days apart. One attack on January 14th occurred during the middle of a snowstorm, and while another took place on July 4th of 2008. The string of assaults left the neighborhood on edge at the time, as police warned women to be vigilant and even wear rape whistles. Authorities believe the rapes were connected and released a composite sketch of the suspect, which, take a look at it. You tell me whether it appears to be Mr. Nilo. And the newly indicted attacks occurred at the time Nilo was living in the North End and during the same period as the attacks against the women in Charleston, for which Nilo is already charged. Prosecutors allege the incidents followed a similar pattern. The victims were attacked while they were walking alone in the dark, either at night or in the early morning hours. And the district attorney said more information about the new charges will be released when Nilo is arraigned next month. But he did hint to say, I can tell you, DNA evidence played a role in these new indictments. Not good. Not good. I'm telling you, DNA is tough, particularly on cold cases. We wish Mr. Nilo the best of luck. I think he's going to need it on this one. All right, was this a lawful defending of property? We'll put this in the lawful but awful file. So a Florida homeowner who unloaded a dozen rounds on a pool cleaner he thought was an intruder is not going to face any criminal charges. Now, Bradley Hocevar was acting within the bounds of Florida's Stand Your Ground law when he opened up fire on Carl Polek, who was apparently at the house to clean the pool. Probably one of those things that I would call lawful but awful, said the sheriff regarding the incident that took place on June 15th. It's lawful, but just an awful set of circumstances. Now, security footage and an audio call of 911 by Jana Hocevar, the wife, reveals that the couple had no idea who was in their backyard at about 9 p.m., only that it was a man and that he appeared to be approaching the house with a flashlight. Now, the exterior home camera footage shows Pollock entering the backyard, preparing to clean the pool. He sets out his equipment, makes a few trips to his truck, and appears to be inspecting either the pool or the ground using his cell phone flashlight. At one point, Pollock is seen appearing to wave towards the inside of the house. Hocevar apparently told Pollock to leave, but that due to the configuration of the house and where the homeowners were and where they were standing, it's more than likely that the pool cleaner didn't hear the warning. So the homeowner then fired 2 initial shots at the pool cleaner before eventually unloading more than 30 rounds from his rifle. The bulk of those shots were after the pool cleaner had left the pool deck. And the 911 audio includes the wife of the homeowner repeatedly asking her husband to stop shooting. The dispatcher gave the same commands. The sheriff said that it was fortunate that nobody was seriously hurt and emphasized that there was no crime that was committed and the homeowner was acting within the law. The sheriff also noted that the homeowner reaction to the pool cleaner was the type of behavior that the Florida law was meant to allow. And the sheriff said this is as squarely within the Castle Doctrine and the Stand Your Ground law as it gets, referring to the 2 legal defenses that allow someone to use deadly force against a perceived threat, even if the threat is not real. The sheriff speculated as to why he would have opened fire, the property owner. And he said, well, he's got a military background. It could have been somebody there, and he just didn't want him there for some reason. Anyway, the shooting was justified. It was 9 o'clock at night, totally dark. Your wife sees some guy walking around the pool, doesn't recognize him, doesn't identify himself. Open fire in Florida. Now, our Stand Your Ground in Colorado is a little more clear. You have to break the threshold of the house, okay? Break the threshold, it's open season, not outside on the pool cleaners. But it worked out well in this situation, and fortunately, Nobody was seriously injured. The pool cleaner had some grazing wounds and some shrapnel removed from his leg. Be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're a pool cleaner or anybody showing up late to do service, text them, call them, let them know you are coming to the house so that, well, you don't get shot, particularly in Florida. Next on the docket, this is a story made for the You Can't Make This Stuff Up file. That's right. Imagine that moment. An alleged child rapist was found with not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 children in his car after being pulled over for drunk driving. And guess what? His pants just happened to be unbuttoned. Fortunately, that was captured on body cam footage. Now, Jeremy Guthrie was stopped by the New Mexico police last year after he was seen swerving in and out of lanes in Albuquerque. But officers found much darker than the DUI case. That's right. So the police video of the arrest shows a sloppy and somewhat drunk Mr. Guthrie claiming that the 6 children in the vehicle are all his friends. He's seen struggling to find his license and registration when he was pulled over at about 1 a.m. on July 5th in 2022. Well, as he was searching for his wallet, the officer points out, it's right there in your lap. Oh, sorry, he's just a little nervous, Mr. Guthrie said. So was the way I was driving, he asked the police before noticing the vehicle is packed with children. Who are these kids to you, the officer asked. This is my friend, Guthrie says about the girl sitting in the passenger seat. When he claims the girl is 18, the officer fires back and says, that girl is not 18, trust me. She doesn't look 18. He tells Guthrie before asking him to exit the vehicle. Now, once Guthrie exits the car, the officer points out the zipper of his jeans being undone. Guthrie then continues to deny he had anything to drink and insists that the kids are just friends. Now, an officer then goes to speak with the children as another police officer performs the roadside sobriety test. Guthrie is then arrested for the DUI charge shortly before one of the kids' father shows up to pick up the kid. Now, he was charged with DUI, having an open container, and 6 counts of child abuse. Following the arrest, it got a little more complex. Guthrie was charged with raping a 13-year-old girl and her twin sister for more than a year and actually got one of them pregnant. That's right. Mr. Guthrie reportedly met the girls on social media and communicated with them through Snapchat and Instagram. I know, ladies and gentlemen, are you starting to notice a trend here? That's right. If you're a regular watcher, you know what I'm talking about. Well, Mr. Guthrie is suspected of raping at least one of the other girls as well. The twins and 4 other teens were in the car when Guthrie was arrested. They were returned to their homes the night that Guthrie was arrested before a woman called police to report that Guthrie had been raping her granddaughter. Now, the woman told police that Guthrie impregnated the girl when she was just 12 and that she had a miscarriage. She claims to not have known. The woman claims not to know about it until Guthrie's DUI arrest. The twins' legal guardian reportedly said a man picked up the girls, took them to his house, and then gave them alcohol before the DUI arrest. One of the sisters allegedly said that Guthrie had been raping her regularly over the length of the time span and had told them that her twin sister loved them and wanted to have a daughter with her. She also reportedly told police that Guthrie used methamphetamine and cocaine and owned several guns. After Mr. Guthrie's arrest, the twins' grandmother claimed he still contacted the girls while he was behind bars. Instagram messages between Guthrie and the girls show Guthrie asking one of the girls for money. In one message, he claimed to be using a guard's phone to make the phone call. Guthrie pled no contest to the DUI and is still waiting trial for the alleged rape of the twins. He's in custody in Albuquerque. In custody. But he's given the presumption of innocence. We understand that. Just saying, our Albuquerque people out there that maybe have somebody in custody, just thinking about it. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to crimetalksearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. And finally today, our dumb criminal of the day. This story makes absolutely no sense to me. Well, frankly, that's why it is so dumb. So a man in Minnesota is behind bars following an unprovoked Skittles attack. That's right, a Skittles attack on a restaurant patron and employees, according to police. Now, investigators say that Tristan Statina walked into a Mankato eatery Friday afternoon and began throwing Skittles at employees and customers. The woman, identified as victim number 1, said that she was hit in the back with a Skittle, which caused a stinging pain. How hard would you have to throw a Skittle to cause a stinging pain to the back of your head? Pretty darn hard. When the police arrived at the restaurant, the police noticed Skittles all over the ground and a bag of Skittles near the garbage. The suspect, victim number 1, told police, had a heart-shaped tattoo under his eye and another tattoo on the side of the face. Based upon that description, police knew the male to be Tristan Statina, obviously a frequent flyer. Well, Statina has twice been arrested by the Mankato police in recent months, and after locating Statina at a nearby business, the teen allegedly pulled away and attempted to break free from the officers as they were trying to place him in handcuffs. Now, Statina, who tried to trip one of the police officers, was eventually subdued by 3 officers, according to the probable cause statement. And Statina was charged with misdemeanor assault for the alleged Skittle. He was also charged with misdemeanor disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call a gateway crime. Skittles today, next thing you know, we're launching those from some sort of device. Next thing you know, they're robbing banks. It's a slippery slope. If this kind of stuff is not stopped immediately, the crime spree will continue. Thank God to the Mankato police. And Mr. Statina, well, you are a dumb criminal of the day. And maybe this may have had something to do with it. Apparently, Mr. Statina was arrested in May of this year for possession of LSD and possession of marijuana wax. So maybe they were just having a bad trip. Who knows? But those are the facts. And that's the kind of facts that gets you to be a dumb criminal of the day. Congratulations. You made it. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you next time on Crime Talk.